Behind the Magic, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is okay. And if you know not much about the creation of Disney's Snow White, then there might be a lot of information in this. But if you already know quite a bit, it's not that informative. We have a couple of decent clips, but it also uses quite a lot of stock clips and random clips that have got nothing to do with Disney's Snow White. So it's not amazing. This was released in 2015. It's directed by Jeremiah Crowell, written by Jamie Lustberg, and it's narrated by Ginnifer Goodwin. And over the course of about 40 minutes, we learn all about how Snow White came to be. And it does celebrate the fact that without Snow White, who knows what the animation industry would be like now. Doing an animated feature film was groundbreaking. The film is just incredible, not just because it was Disney's first animation feature, but also because it's just a brilliant film with some fantastic music, and of course we get to hear some of that music. And the film, or documentary if you like, basically takes us through how Walt came about the idea of having a feature version of Snow White and the research that he did. And we do get a couple of clips of Walt Disney in this, not well, many, but enough. And then the efforts that they made to create the feature film and how they were cutting it very fine. Because right up until the premiere, things were not perfect. They still had to fine tune some things, which I guess is not a surprise because this is a huge undertaking to do their first feature length animation. And it does come across very well in this documentary that a lot of people worked on this. Yes, it was a passion project for Walt Disney, but people were working around the clock to make it just right. There are also a lot of things missing in this documentary, and there are a lot of really fascinating things about how the film was promoted and a lot of things about the artwork. Basically, if you're interested in the history of Snow White, my advice would be to read any of a number of books that in great detail look at the animation of Walt Disney, the animation history of Disney. And if you want any recommendations, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll dig through what I've got to see which are the best. But it's a good introduction. If you don't really know anything about how Snow White came to be with Disney, then it's a fine introduction. We do have a couple of decent clips, but honestly, it's mostly just we have some interviews with some industry professionals, which is nice, but the actual clips surrounding that are largely stock clips and other clips of other versions of Snow White, and it's just not very well packaged together. It's not very well edited at all. And then when we get to see examples of some of the early drawings and things, we don't actually get a look at them properly. It's not very well filmed, and it's just visually not very impressive at all. The editing is not very good whatsoever. The information that's shared is a good entry level for Snow White. So, as I said, if you are completely new to the history of Disney and the history of Snow White, then yes, I think you will definitely find some of the facts shared to be quite interesting. But if you're already familiar with it, I don't think you'll learn anything new here. You won't see anything new because, as I said, there is a significant absence of decent clips. There are a couple of decent ones, but nothing that fabulous, nothing that I haven't seen before. So it's not great. I was expecting better. For an entry level to the history of Snow White, absolutely worth giving a go. But if you already know the bare basics, then I'd say it's probably not worth it.